watching Germantown Municipal Television, your source for everything Germantown.
Hello, I'm your Superintendent, Jason Manuel. Today, our show will highlight two talented students that are actively involved in the Houston Choir program, and we will be treated to a sneak peek performance by Fifth Measure in our Students Live segment. Later in the show, we'll also check in with Farmington 4th grade teacher Lori Pettit and one of her students, Carter Wildrick, in this month's teacher feature. But first, we are happy to welcome Peter Simons to the studio as we put the spotlight on the music programs at Dogwood Elementary School. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, tell us a little bit about your history. How long have you been at Dogwood and how long have you been teaching?
I've been teaching for 11 years. This is my 4th year at Dogwood, and I taught middle school and taught in Tipton County and Shelby County before it was Memphis-Shelby County now.
Well, so tell us a little bit about what drew you to music. Was this something that you've always had a passion for, that you've always enjoyed?
Yeah, you know, when I was in 3rd grade, my mom made me take lessons, and I wanted to quit time after time and time again. So parents, make your kids stick it out. So I didn't really like it, but I kept going and playing classical music, and eventually I just developed a love for it. And then when I quit lessons, I started playing some music, you know, that I wanted to play, that I liked,
right,
that I enjoyed, and that got me into, you know, singing in choirs, and got into church choirs, and ended up leading music at a church, and then I worked with middle school kids at my church, and then eventually just got involved in school here, you know, and here in the Germantown district. So.
Well, I think one of the things that's special is not just what you're doing in the classroom every day, but you also have a program outside of the regular school day that has really blossomed and grown. Tell us a little bit about Dogwood's choir program.
We have the honor choir. It's 4th and 5th grade, and it's an audition group, and we do a lot of things in the community. Like we're getting ready to do the Grizzlies game, and next week we're going to sing the national anthem for them. We do the Redbirds games, and we have several concerts that we do at school. We do one, you know, holiday program, and then we do a program at the end of the year that our kids kind of decide what we're going to do, what the theme is, and they help pick out the music and kind of make it their own.
So they really have a connection to what they're singing and what they're doing.
They do, yeah.
But that means you have to stay current too.
I do, yes. I do. I try my best to stay current, yes.
Now, this takes a lot of parent support because we're dealing with elementary school children, and I think that you have a relationship with the PTO organization at your school. How have parents really helped your program grow?
They're at Dogwood. They just love music. They love anything that we do. They attend. They're there. They're present. They get their kids to all the practices. They financially they help us, you know, too. And we kind of worked out a thing with the PTO where I said, if we'll buy this sound system for us, I'll do your DJ parties. So I become DJ Simons at all of our dances and events, yes. And but they're just awesome. They support everything we do there.
Right.
They are so just enthusiastic about everything.
And even from the district side of things, because they were my backup singers when we did the Christmas parade. I'm not much of a singer. I had a lot of bad talk singing in that production. But the parents brought them out there in their pajamas in the cold, and y'all had practiced beforehand and recorded music.
We did.
So
that was a great collaboration because a high school student actually wrote the words.
Right.
And then we learned the song, and then Kate Crowder came out, recorded us, and then recorded you. It was just a great fun collaboration there.
Fun event.
Yes.
Now let's talk a little bit about in the classroom. So this is something special for all students that they're getting exposed to all fine arts. So whether we're talking about drawing or whether we're talking about singing or music, tell us a little bit about what you do in the classroom.
Okay. Well, I teach kindergarten through 5th grade this year, so I have all the grades, and so I have to, have different tasks for different students.
Right.
But generally, what I want students to walk out of Dogwood is being able to read music, being able to sing the correct way, just having an appreciation for it. So we start out with kindergartners. We do a lot of games. We do a lot of singing. I brought a couple instruments you can see maybe later. But
well, I remember that was one of the most exciting things when I went to Farmington, and they would have the instruments out. And I remember everyone wanted to rush to the the big xylophones or the glockenspiels. Or so tell us what you brought us.
I'm impressed. You know what this is called? It's called a glockenspiel, and I always try to teach kindergarten kids. They have a hard time with that word, glockenspiel. There's a glockenspiel, and they can learn rhythm. So they play they can play rhythm on it, and then we can improvise. We can take some of these off, and they can improvise, play whatever they want. You wouldn't believe how beautiful it sounds when they're playing that. And then I brought this too. This is called a vibra slap, and we always learn the proper way to play it. But you hit it like this, and it's really just to accent different words or different.
But it's exciting and fun. Yeah. So, what are future goals for your program and for your choirs?
I'd like to see every year we want to see our kids grow as vocally as much as they can with the choir. And the thing I love most about choir is that they develop this confidence in themselves that they don't have. Like you have a kid coming in who's very shy and insecure, and they connect to this group, and then they develop this confidence in themselves, and it extends outside of the
So even
choir.
when they're not singing, they are sure of what they can do.
Yeah. And then we want to work with the middle school and the high school and moving them into their programs too. So that's something that's important to us at Dogwood.
Well, thank you for being here. You're doing incredible things with kids, and we've recognized, and the community has recognized what you're doing, exceptional things.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's exciting the opportunities that our students are receiving in their music classrooms at the elementary school level. When we return, we'll be checking in with 2 students heavily involved in the high school course program.
What to expect when you're expecting a teenager.
Today we're talking about how to wake up your teen, and this works literally every time.
Give kisses. Give kisses. You heard how loud
I heard. It wasn't you. Yeah. It was the...
Is that bacon?
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate, and it's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
You are watching Germantown Municipal Television, your source for everything Germantown.
Welcome back. In this segment, we'll be spotlighting 2 students from our Houston Choirs program, Will Lowery and Rochelle Mitchell. And after the interview, we'll get to hear Fifth Measure, Houston High School's mixed a cappella group. Under the direction of Dr. Billy Rayburn, Fifth Measure has risen to great heights. Thank y'all for being here.
Thank you for having us.
So let's talk a little bit about Houston Choirs. So first, and we can take turns answering the questions, what attracted y'all to Houston's choir program?
Well, my sister, she was actually a member of the choir program, so I've been attending choir concerts for like almost 9 years now.
So you grew up seeing choir events?
Yes, yes.
What about you, Rochelle?
Well, my freshman year is when the school districts changed, and what made me choose Houston over like Germantown was the reputation that Houston Choirs had. So when I came in for my audition, I was hearing all these great things. I got to hear the a cappella groups, which really drew my attention, so that was a big factor.
So when we say Houston choir programs, to people outside, they really just think, oh, there's one choir that you get to be a part of, but that's not necessarily the case. There are different choirs, different things that you could do or be a part of. Tell us a little bit about the choir programs that you have. What do you do for Houston, Will?
Well, we have 4 choirs. We have a women's choir, a concert choir, mixed a cappella group, Fifth Measure, and a girls a cappella group, Dolce Bella. And I have been a member of the concert choir and fifth measure for 4 years.
Oh, wow. And what about you, Rochelle?
I have been in women's choir, concert choir, Dolce Bella, and fifth measure, and this year I'm in every choir, and basically they each offer different things. It's a different environment in each choir. Definitely with women's in concert choir, it's more of a choral environment. With the a cappella groups, it's kind of like a pop style, you know, more contemporary.
Now, this is something that you do during the school day and also outside of school?
Yes.
So what are the classes that you take during the school day? Those are the 4 choirs that you named. But are they also practices after school that you participate in?
Sometimes when we do like All West and All State.
When you're getting ready for some of
Yes,
that.
when we're getting ready for that, we have after school rehearsal.
Now, speaking of events coming up, y'all do compete annually in a cappella competition, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Is there a national? Tell us a little bit about the competition.
With NACC, it is a national a cappella convention at Briarcrest, and to be chosen to compete, we have to submit a video with choreography and all of our new songs. And this year, Dolce Bella and Fifth Measure got chosen to compete for it. So in the springtime, we'll be competing for the top spot and that title.
So last year, Fifth Measure placed second in the competition.
Wow. That's exciting. Now, that's not the only competition. There's a local one. You mentioned All West, and I think for people who are around fine arts, they're familiar with All West. But tell us a little bit about what that is. That's another competition also.
So All West is basically from the Memphis region. Every school participates, and you go in and you audition, and if they like you, they put you in the choir, and it's all based on scores. If you have enough score, you get put in.
Now, is this a prepared piece of music that you have when you go in?
Yes.
Or is it cold turkey where you're walking in? And
No, we prepare 7 pieces.
Oh, wow. Now, is there also sight reading, too, where you can actually look at music and see?
Yes, we have sight reading.
Oh, my goodness. So not only do you have to be a great singer, but you have to learn the musical side of it also.
Yes.
Okay, well, tell us about some of the other events that you've been able to do with the choir. Y'all aren't just doing things locally. Do y'all take special trips outside of the area?
Well, recently we just went to Kettering, Ohio, and did another a cappella convention, which was a lot of fun.
So much fun.
So-
And concert choir, or all of the choirs actually take an annual tour in the spring. We go out the country. 2 years ago we went to New York, last year Italy. It just all depends, but it's really fun. We get to
So
perform
you
in
mentioned
places.
that one Kettering, and she's throwing out New York and internationally. Have y'all both been overseas, or
Yes.
one of you?
I have.
So where have you been with the choir?
Freshman year we went to Hawaii, sophomore year we went to New York, and then last year we went to Italy, and this year we're going to Chicago.
Oh, Chicago.
Yes.
Now, when you go to these places, is there a tour that you're signing up for? Are there competitions that you're attending? What are you going overseas to do, or what are you going to Hawaii for? What's the challenge there? Is it a
They're
performance?
Usually programs that Dr. Abram signs us up for. Not all the time competitions necessarily. 2 years ago in New York, we performed at Carnegie Hall, but it wasn't a competition. It was just kind of
A performance.
and it was really fun.
So there's fun along with the trip.
Yeah.
It's not just performing the entire time.
Yeah.
So talking about these trips, I know that's something special for choir students, but if you were going to talk to an incoming freshman or someone who's deciding, where do I want to go to school? Should I go to Houston? Should I be a part of the choir program? What would you say to them? How would you encourage them? What would you tell them that's great about Houston's choir?
It is a fun family environment. You get to meet a lot of new people, and you get to study some really great music. And Dr. Rayburn is a wonderful conductor and a teacher, but you have to work hard to be in it.
For sure. And the fact that we offer 2 a cappella groups, and I know a lot of schools in our area don't necessarily offer a cappella groups or even more than one. So our national rankings and just our reputation, I would think that'd be a big part of somebody's decision to go here.
So tell us a little bit more. It's not just singing. When you do the a cappella, and I know everybody's seen the Pitch Perfect, there's some choreography that's involved too. Tell us a little bit about, you're not just standing stationary. This requires some actual planning ahead of time. What do y'all do with choreography?
So we have the wonderful choreographer, Kathy Teal, and she is a local choreographer for schools and just community theaters around Memphis. And a lot of our stuff isn't really dancing like you would think dancing, but more formations, expression, getting emotions across.
She tries to connect the meaning of the songs with what we do, so necessarily it's not just moving in different positions. You can kind of tell with the lyric that's brought out, we do a head movement or something like that.
Yeah.
Now, after this, our audience is going to get to see a performance from your group. Tell us a little bit about the significance of Detroit. How is that special to your program? Why that song?
Well, one of our former choir student used to go here. He is in the movie, and we are performing one of the songs from the movie.
Oh, so there's a connection to Houston.
Yes.
Well, I hope that everyone who's considering a fine art would talk to y'all and see how special choir has been for you. Thank y'all for being here.
Thank you so much.
Before we take a short break, we hope you enjoy this performance by Fifth Measure as they sing the song Grow from the movie Detroit.
Coming from a place of illusions and being blinded, I've been around it. I hear it now, it's coming loud, the sound of sirens, 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 all of the places. How is this where I end up? Headed for what I am, not for what I'm not. Truth is that all men are equal, but I know equal for my kind of people ain't what they show. I'm crying. I wonder when we will grow, do raise demonstration, realize, always my own. Act like it ain't there and try to hide it, try to hide it, try to hide it. This is where I end Truth is that all men are equal, but I know equal for my kind of people ain't what they show. I'm crying. I wonder when we will grow. Truth is that all men are equal, but I know equal for my kind of people ain't what they show. I'm crying. I wonder when we will grow. I wonder when we will grow.
You are watching Germantown Municipal Television, your source for everything Germantown.
Welcome back. I am Superintendent Jason Manuel, and you're watching GMSD's Spotlight on Excellence. We want to spend our last moments highlighting an exemplary teacher in a segment we call the Teacher Feature. With us today is Lori Pettit, a fourth grade teacher who has brought along a very special guest. Thank you all for being here. Well, first, I'll let you introduce who's our special guest that you brought with you.
This is Carter Wildrick. He is obviously a fourth grader at Farmington, and he's in one of my language arts classes at Farmington.
So tell us a little bit about you. How long have you been teaching?
Okay, this is my 14th year to teach, my 8th year in Germantown schools. So I'm a resident of Germantown. My children go to Germantown schools, and so I teach reading, language arts, and I've been there for, at Farmington for 3 years.
Have you always taught language arts?
Yes, it's some aspect. Sometimes I've taught social studies with it, or my first year when I taught at Dogwood, I taught all the subjects together. So, but now we're more departmentalized.
Yeah. So you get to focus on that.
Yes.
So that's really what speaks to you as far as what you enjoy teaching.
Yes.
Well, we've been going through changes. I know everyone's been talking about the accountability for teachers and the change to Common Core, and that's had an impact on all of our classrooms, whether we're talking about math or language arts. Right. And we're experiencing that in 4th grade classes too, especially with expeditionary learning. Tell us a little bit about the curriculum that you're using in your classroom that we have for students to really engage them.
Okay, it's definitely an engaging curriculum. So expeditionary learning is, it's a way of teaching reading where students really get to become experts on a topic. So we teach 4 modules. Each module is about a different topic, and they read deeply about these topics. They become experts. They research, and then at the end of the module, they're able to do a presentation, some type of creative work that they've done to show what they've learned about that topic from what they've read.
So we'll talk to you. Do you have a favorite module that y'all have done yet? Is there something that you enjoyed in her class more than others?
I've really liked the when we did the expert animals, when we specialized on talking about certain defenses.
So did you have to research your own animals and then write about it?
Yes, sir.
Is that a big component of how they justify whatever they're
Yes, the research. So they learn how to research. They read text several times so that they really learn all there is to know about what it is they're learning about. So they were studying different animals and their animal defenses, how they defend themselves in the wild. And so they learned about them, what they look like, what they eat, where they live, and how they survive. And then they were able to write about that.
So what was your animal? Did you have several, or did you have one that you really?
One.
What was yours?
I had the monarch butterfly.
And what was the monarch's defenses? Do you remember what made them special?
It was the warning colors, and it had poison.
So
monarchs are pretty vicious.
Yes.
Can be pretty vicious.
I think you get. I think a lot of butterflies copy that too.
Yes.
You can be a copycat. So you have 4 modules that they go through. Which one was animal defenses in?
That was our second module. Our first module was poetry, and now we're working on the American Revolution. So it really combines across the curriculums. You get science, you get social studies, you get literature. So it's just a good mix of everything.
So tell us about the poetry unit, because I heard that yours was pretty exceptional.
Yes, we love the poetry unit.
Yes.
So it's a really great way to start the year because it's a new type of literature that they're not as used to. So they learn the characteristics of poetry, they read different poetry, they learn about different poets, they read about their lives and what inspired them to write poetry, and then they use what they've learned about poetry. They write their own poem, they study their poet, and they write an informational essay about their poet's life that they studied for that module.
So did you have a poem
Yes, I did.
from that module? You want to give us a little snippet or segment of your poem?
Yes. Do you want all of it, or?
Just give us a small.
Okay.
Yeah, you can give us
It's a short
one.
poem,
No,
so
short
he
one.
can probably.
Laced it sleeps, coiled up tightly, a serpent waiting to strike. Hiss, unnoticed, untied, it is camouflaged, slithering in silence on the cold floor, waiting to be remembered. Could you guess what it is?
Yeah, we're talking about a snake.
Yes, or a shoelace.
Oh, no.
He compares it to a snake. So he's using
yes.
figurative language in his poetry that he learned about. What was the poet that you studied?
Valerie
Worth. Yes, and that's the type of characteristic she used in her poetry.
Oh,
So
wow.
he used it in his.
So he made it similar. Now, this isn't something that they do in isolation either. This is something
No.
where they have to work and share in groups. Tell us a
Oh,
little bit
yes.
about how you make sure that they're connecting
We do lots
with
of
their
groups.
peers.
We do.
Yes. So we'll read a text. There's lots of deep discussion, evidence-based discussion, where they're proving, well, this is why I think this, and they listen to each other. We have our discussion norms, so they're respectful of each other, and they add on to each other's ideas. And so they're really able to dig deep in the text to discover about the world around them, whatever it is they're learning about. They're reading and they're discussing it and they're learning from each other.
So this is something that we track their progress too with students, because I know that we're focused on data and making sure that they are achieving success when they leave. That's a focus of yours also. Now, you're a PLC lead teacher
For the 4th grade, yes.
for the 4th grade. Tell us what that is, because I know that's teacher speak when we say PLC.
Right. So it's professional learning community. So it's basically just a way for teachers to share ideas, come together and say, this is what I'm doing, and it's not working. What are you doing? Are you doing something that's helping in your classroom? Or we do look at data. We look at the numbers and say, okay, they're doing really good on this standard, so we need to move on and work on a different standard. So we just kind of work together to figure out, you know, where it is we need to go with our lessons.
So talk a little bit about some of those lessons.
Yes,
What were your favorite parts? Now, we talked about the poetry and the animal defenses.
Yes.
What other parts of lessons? Did you have some that you liked?
The certain parts that I really liked were, so we do this thing called a mix and mingle.
Okay.
We'll play music, we go around, we partner up, then we talk about our answers or different things.
So it's a different way to, so you're not stuck with the same groups
Exactly.
each time you do a mix and mingle.
We get to move
Socialize.
and dance around, you know, talk to people and talk to different people about whatever it is we're learning about or reading about.
So you said the module they're on right now is Revolution?
The American Revolution.
American Revolution.
Yes.
What comes after American Revolution?
Women's suffrage.
Women's
Voting
suffrage.
rights, yes.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yes.
Well, I can't thank you enough for what you're doing with our language arts. I know it's been a big change.
Yes.
But I think that the students that you are producing will be better prepared, and they're all going to be writers. Goodness.
Definitely.
That was an incredible poem.
Thank you.
And if everybody's writing works like that, then I can only wait to see what our students are going to do. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's all we have time for on this month's Spotlight on Excellence. If you'd like more information about this or any other show on Germantown Municipal Television, visit us on our website at www.gmtvonline.org. Until next time, this has been Superintendent Jason Manuel for this month's installment of the Germantown Municipal School District Spotlight on Excellence.